Hello, fourth graders. We're back together again. We're going to have a reading lesson. And the title of our reading lesson is The Death of the Aral Sea. See if I can get my pen to work. Okay. And so we're going to number our paragraphs. 1, 2, go over here, 3. I'm trying to do this with my mouse. 4. So we have 4 paragraphs. Number 1. Water covers more than 70% of the Earth's surface. So this is a fact. This is informational, and they're giving us a fact. Okay, so what are we talking about? Water and the Earth's surface. But just 3% is freshwater. What do they mean by freshwater? Let's put a question mark there. And 2% of that fresh water is polar ice. That means it's the ice that is in Antarctica. And so we're not using that water because it's frozen. That leaves just 1% for everyone on Earth to use. Let's do hashtag water. This is hard to do. My pen isn't working, so I'm doing my mouse. Okay, the Aral Sea is in Central Asia. So it's in Asia. It is in the nation of Uzbekistan. The Aral Sea was once the Earth's 4th largest lake. So it's huge, and it was all freshwater. See, the oceans are full of salt water, which we can't drink unless we run it through a process. But freshwater, then we can drink. But it has been shrinking since the 1960s. Rivers had fed the sea. So how did the rivers feed it? It means that it would flow into the sea from all these different lakes that would get runoff from the mountains, from the snow and the rain. Okay, so feed means it would pour water into that sea. Then the river's courses, I wonder what that is, were changed to send water to the cotton crops in other nations. Okay, so they decided that other countries needed some of the water too, so they had to share it. So they started making dams so they could send the water here and the water here and the water here to different countries, different places that needed water for their crops. Okay. By 2007, the Aral Sea had lost 90%. 90%. So how much was left? So we would have had 100%. Took away 90. We only have 10% left of the water that it originally had. It shrank into 3 tiny lakes. Now ships lie stranded in sand that was once the seabed. What does that mean? So there's actually ships that they've been stranded and they're still there. They're shipwrecked because there's no water for them to flow in. So they just sit there on the sand. Okay, that's what it means, stranded. Okay, this is going to be hashtag stranded. Okay, let's see. Let's put a heart at, let's see, put a heart by the fresh water. Okay, paragraph 3. The sea had a fishing industry. Fishing industry. What do you think that means? I think it means that they had a lot of boats because they had so much water. And so all these boats, it was a big business where they could go out and fish and bring the fish back in and sell them. So it was a big business, a fishing industry. That is gone. There's no water. There's no fishing, right? The people there are very poor. The sea was so large that it affected the local weather. So when you have a big body of water, it can affect the weather. Okay, and let's read how that worked. Now the summers are hotter and drier because they have no water. The winters are colder and longer, and the sea's evaporation. Do you remember what that means? When it goes up into the clouds and then comes back down in the form of rain, left layers of highly salted sand. So they had a residue of salt and was left in the sand. In March 2010, so it was about 10 years ago, a sandstorm made many people get sick from breathing the sand because there was so much sand. Okay, let's say hashtag. What should we call this one? We should say weather, because it affected their weather, didn't it? Okay, let's go down to the paragraph 4. The nearby nation, Kazakhstan, wants to rebuild the North Aral Sea. Oh, they want to rebuild it. Huh. It built a dam in 2005. 3 years later, the water level had risen by 39 feet. Does that mean it's working? It's working. They're getting more water. They had trapped more water. But even if this lake can be saved, it will never be the size it once was. Never be. Okay, let's go down to the bottom and look at our questions. Okay, by 2007, the Aral Sea had lost how much of the water? Let's go up to paragraph 2. How much water had it lost? Remember we talked about it? 90%. 90%. So the answer is C. Is C. Okay, and so that's going to be paragraph. Let's see if I can write that. Paragraph 2. Okay, question number 2. The Aral Sea was once the largest lake in the world, the second largest lake in the world, the third largest lake in the world, or the fourth largest lake in the world. Let's go back up. Let's see. It says here in paragraph 2, right there, the Aral Sea was once Earth's fourth largest lake. So it's going to be D. And that was also paragraph 2. Let's erase some of that. Let's try again. Okay, let's go down to 3. How much of Earth's fresh water is trapped in the polar ice? Remember we talked about that? Is it A, none, B, 1%, C, 2%, or D, 3%? Let's go, I think it was in paragraph 1. 2%. 2% of that fresh water is polar ice. So let's circle C. And let's put paragraph. Let's see if I'm getting better at this. Paragraph 1. Okay, let's look at number 4. Why won't the Aral Sea ever return to its original size? Let's see, is it A, all the river's waters would have to be redirected? B, global warming will keep the lake from refilling? C, sandstorms will keep the lake from refilling? Or D, it cannot support enough fish. Let's see. Remember they talked about redirecting the course of the water? So I'm going to say that it's A, because all those rivers would have to be redirected. All the courses of those rivers would have to send all their water back to the RLC for it to refill up again. So probably the chances that it's ever going to be as big as it was is not very good. Okay, let's see. What paragraph was that? So I think it was in 2. Yes, it talks about it had been shrinking since the 60s and the rivers had been fed, had not been fed, had been the courses the courses of the water had been sent to other places, remember, to feed their crops. And so it probably will never be the same size again. Okay, let's put paragraph 2. Okay, this was our instruction. Now you're going to work on your assignment. The assignment is going to look like this. It's going to be Maine, the blueberry state, and that is going to be your assignment, your reading assignment for today. See you next time. Bye-bye.